Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people in the world are often the quietest? We tend to think that to be heard, we must speak the loudest. But, in reality, silence carries a power that words often cannot. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is the calm in the storm, the clarity amidst chaos. When we choose silence, we create space for reflection. In our world, we are bombarded by noise. Social media notifications, endless conversations, arguments, and opinions. But silence allows us to listen, truly listen. It is in those quiet moments that we understand ourselves, understand others, and understand life. Silence teaches us patience. It gives us the ability to pause before we react, to choose our words carefully, and to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Think about it, when someone speaks in anger, they might be loud, but their words may carry little weight. The person who speaks thoughtfully, after observing, after understanding, commands respect and influence. Power doesn't always show itself in action. Sometimes it shows itself in restraint. The ability to say nothing, to remain calm in the face of provocation, is a strength that few possess. Silence is like water. It finds its way, it adapts, it nourishes. Words may irritate, divide, or provoke, but silence observes, analyzes, and ultimately acts at the right moment. Silence also protects our energy. Every word we speak leaves a mark, and every argument we engage in drains us. By speaking less, we preserve our energy for what truly matters. Successful people know that not every battle is theirs to fight, not every opinion needs to be voiced, and not every criticism requires a response. There's another secret: silence enhances perception. When we are quiet, we notice things others miss. We hear the unspoken, we see patterns in behavior, and we connect deeper with those around us. The world around us reveals its truths not in the noise, but in the pauses, in the subtlety of life that only a silent observer can catch. So, how do we use silence to become powerful? First, practice listening more than speaking. Let others talk, let the word express itself, and simply absorb. Second, cultivate inner silence through meditation, reflection, or simply moments of stillness. Third, choose your words like precious gems. Speak only when necessary, when your words carry meaning, and when they inspire rather than diminish. Remember, silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. Silence is wisdom. Silence allows us to think deeply, act wisely, and influence profoundly. In a world addicted to noise, those who embrace silence rise above it. Their presence, their calm, their understanding, these become their power. The next time you feel the urge to speak just for the sake of being heard, pause, breathe, observe, and let silence speak for you. Because sometimes, the quietest voice carries the heaviest impact. Have you ever paused for a moment in your life and truly asked yourself, am I really listening to what is happening inside me? In our fast-paced, constantly connected world, it is easy to forget the value of stillness. We are surrounded by noise, emails, notifications, conversations, social media updates, and the endless opinions of the world. The more noise we surround ourselves with, the less time we spend truly understanding our own thoughts, our own emotions, and our own purpose. And that is why silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the presence of clarity. Silence creates a sacred space where reflection can thrive, where insight can emerge, and where growth can begin. Think about the way we make decisions in life. Often, we act hurriedly, reacting to circumstances without pausing to reflect. We speak first, react first, and then realize later that perhaps we didn't fully understand the situation. Silence allows us to step back from the chaos, to observe with clarity, and to make decisions that are aligned not with impulse, but with wisdom. It is in those quiet moments that the mind can sift through the clutter, differentiate between what is urgent and what is important, and recognize what truly matters in our lives. Reflection is the companion of growth. When we take time to be silent, we allow ourselves to examine our thoughts without judgment, to review our actions without fear, and to understand our emotions without suppression. Every human being experiences challenges, setbacks, and confusion. Life presents situations that push us to our limits, and often our instinct is to talk, to vent, to seek advice immediately. But it is in silence that we discover the answers within ourselves. Reflection is a mirror. When the world is noisy, we see only distorted images. When the mind is quiet, we see clearly. Silence also allows us to understand others better. Listening is not just about hearing words. It is about observing emotions, reading between the lines, and empathizing with experiences that may be unspoken. When we are constantly talking, constantly expressing ourselves, we lose the chance to connect with the deeper truths of those around us. But when we embrace silence, we begin to notice subtle expressions, pauses, and gestures. We begin to understand not only what is being said, but what is being felt. And in understanding, we find compassion, patience, and the power to respond wisely. Let us also consider the creativity that emerges from silence. Some of the greatest thinkers, writers, and leaders in history have emphasized the importance of stillness. When the mind is quiet, ideas surface naturally. When we stop the endless chatter inside our heads, we open a space for inspiration to enter. Have you ever experienced a moment when a solution to a problem comes to you not when you are frantically searching for it, but when you are calm, walking, meditating, or simply sitting in silence? That is the power of reflection born from quietness. Silence is not emptiness, it is a fertile ground where insights grow and clarity blooms. In addition to insight and understanding, silence helps us connect with our inner purpose. Many people spend their lives running after external achievements, money, recognition, validation, without ever asking, why am I doing this? What is my deeper purpose? Reflection in silence allows us to reconnect with our core values, to reassess our priorities, and to align our actions with our true intentions. Without moments of stillness, we may live our lives according to the expectations of others, never pausing to listen to our own hearts. But when we embrace silence, we hear the whisper of our inner voice guiding us toward meaningful choices. Silence also strengthens emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. When we are able to pause, reflect, and process our experiences in quiet, we become less reactive and more composed. Instead of being swept away by anger, fear, or frustration, we can observe these emotions, understand their origin, and choose how to respond. Silence teaches us that we are not our emotions, we are the witness to them. And in becoming the witness, we gain control, calm, and the power to act rather than react. It is important to understand that reflection in silence does not mean isolation. It does not mean avoiding the world or withdrawing from relationships. On the contrary, it equips us to engage with the world more fully. A person who has taken time to reflect, who has nurtured moments of quiet insight, communicates more effectively, listens more deeply, and leads more wisely. Silence is the foundation of presence. People are drawn to those who are present, who speak with clarity, and who act with intention. The more we cultivate silence within, the more impactful our words and actions become in the world. Many of us underestimate the value of doing nothing. We equate productivity with constant activity, with endless talking and busyness. But the truth is, reflection is an essential form of productivity. By being silent, we invest in understanding ourselves and our surroundings, which ultimately allows us to act with greater efficiency and wisdom. Reflection is preparation. It is the silent training ground for the achievements we seek. Without it, our actions may be misguided, our decisions impulsive, and our relationships strained. Silence also nurtures gratitude. When we take time to pause and reflect, we notice the blessings we often overlook. The beauty of a sunrise, the laughter of a friend, the comfort of family, the opportunities that come our way, all become more vivid when we allow ourselves the space to observe quietly. Reflection in silence reminds us that life is a gift, and in recognizing this, we cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, contentment rather than comparison. Let us not forget the spiritual dimension of silence. Across traditions, sages, philosophers, and spiritual leaders have emphasized the power of stillness. Silence connects us with something larger than ourselves. It allows us to tap into a sense of inner peace, a sense of belonging, and a deeper understanding of life's mysteries. When we embrace silence, we are not simply avoiding noise, we are opening a channel to wisdom, intuition, and inspiration that often cannot be reached in the chaos of constant activity. So, how do we practically cultivate this powerful silence in our everyday lives? It starts with small steps. Begin with a few minutes each day where you step away from distractions. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and allow your mind to settle. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Slowly increase the time and notice how clarity, insight, and calmness begin to grow. Reflect not only on your own experiences, but also on your interactions, decisions, and goals. Ask yourself meaningful questions, such as, am I living according to my values? Or how can I respond wisely to this situation? Over time, these moments of reflection will accumulate, creating a foundation of inner strength, awareness, and purpose. In conclusion, silence is not absence, it is presence. It is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is not weakness, it is power. Silence creates the space for reflection, for insight, for understanding, for creativity, for emotional resilience, and for spiritual connection. In a world that constantly demands our attention and our voice, choosing silence is a revolutionary act. It is in silence that we discover the wisdom to live fully, act wisely, and impact profoundly. The next time you feel compelled to respond immediately, to speak just to be heard, or to fill every moment with activity, pause. Take a breath, step into silence. Listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the whispers of your own mind and heart. Allow reflection to guide you. Let silence shape your understanding, illuminate your path, and empower your journey. Because when you embrace the power of silence, you will find that clarity, wisdom, and strength naturally follow. In today's fast-paced world, we live under constant pressure to react immediately. Messages demand instant replies, news flashes bombard our minds, and people expect us to respond quickly to every situation. We have been conditioned to believe that speed equals competence and reaction equals strength. But the truth is, the power of life does not lie in how fast we respond, it lies in how wisely we respond. And this wisdom, my friends, comes from patience, a patience that is cultivated through silence. Silence is not emptiness, and patience is not passivity. When we pause before speaking or acting, we give ourselves the chance to see things clearly. We step out of the storm of emotions, expectations, and impulses that cloud our judgment. In the space of silence, the mind regains clarity, the heart regains balance, and the soul regains strength. This is where true wisdom begins, not in the noise of impulsive words or hasty decisions, but in the quiet observation of life as it unfolds. Think about how often we regret words spoken in anger or actions taken in haste. A momentary outburst can create lasting consequences. A rash decision can change the course of our relationships, careers, or lives. But when we cultivate silence, we create a buffer. We allow ourselves to pause, reflect, and respond instead of reacting. Patience is the fruit of silence, and wisdom is the flower that grows from it. Silence teaches us to observe before we judge. It allows us to listen more deeply, to consider perspectives beyond our own, and to recognize patterns that we might otherwise overlook. Have you noticed that the people who speak the most are not always the ones who are the most respected? Often, it is the quiet, thoughtful individual who commands attention, not by volume, but by insight. They have learned to pause, to reflect, and to let their actions and words carry the weight of wisdom. Patience developed through silence also strengthens relationships. In the heat of a disagreement, it is easy to let anger, frustration, or fear dictate our words. But silence allows us to step back, to breathe, and to see the bigger picture. It allows us to understand the feelings of others, to empathize, and to respond with kindness instead of conflict. By pausing, we give ourselves the opportunity to communicate more effectively, to preserve trust, and to deepen connections. In this way, silence is not only a personal tool, it is a gift to those around us. Wisdom, my friends, is not learned in haste. It is cultivated through experience, observation, and reflection. And silence provides the environment in which this cultivation occurs. When we are quiet, we can analyze our choices, reflect on our successes and failures, and understand the consequences of our actions. In this space, we learn to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what demands our attention and what deserves our energy. We learn to act with intention rather than impulse. One of the most remarkable aspects of silence is how it teaches restraint. In a world obsessed with proving oneself, with being heard, and with asserting opinions, restraint can be a revolutionary act. Restraint does not mean weakness, it means mastery over oneself. The ability to remain calm in the face of provocation, to resist reacting in anger, and to choose words with care is a hallmark of strength. Silence is the training ground for this mastery. The more we practice it, the more naturally patience and wisdom become a part of our character. Let us also consider the power of listening in silence. Listening is not merely hearing words, it is understanding, empathizing, and discerning. When we remain silent, we allow others to express themselves fully. We give space for their emotions, thoughts, and perspectives to surface. In that silence, we gather information, insight, and understanding. And from this understanding, we can respond wisely, with compassion, clarity, and effectiveness. The world often rewards those who speak loudly, but it respects those who speak meaningfully. And meaning, my friends, comes from reflection, which comes from silence. Patience is a skill that requires practice, and silence is the path to practice it. Every day, life presents us with opportunities to respond impulsively or to pause and reflect. When we choose silence, we choose patience. When we choose patience, we choose clarity over confusion, thoughtfulness over impulsiveness, and understanding over judgment. It is in these moments, seemingly small and insignificant, that the foundation of wisdom is laid. Silence also strengthens our inner stability. Life is full of unpredictability. Situations arise that are beyond our control, and people behave in ways that challenge us. If we are constantly reactive, we are at the mercy of external circumstances. But when we cultivate the habit of silence, we develop a steady center within ourselves. We are no longer tossed about by every wave of emotion or opinion. We respond from a place of calm, measured thought, and the world begins to notice the difference. There is a quiet strength in the person who acts with awareness rather than impulse. A strength that is magnetic, inspiring, and profoundly effective. Consider the leaders, thinkers, and visionaries who have shaped history. Many of them were not the loudest voices in the room. They were the observers, the listeners, the ones who reflected before they spoke. Their words carried weight because they were chosen carefully, shaped by insight, and delivered at the right moment. Silence gave them patience to wait, wisdom to understand, and courage to act at the perfect time. It is a timeless lesson: speak less, observe more, and let your actions carry your message. Silence also allows for emotional regulation. In moments of stress, anger, or disappointment, it is natural to feel overwhelmed. Silence gives us the space to process our emotions, to acknowledge them, and to choose how to act. It prevents us from being controlled by momentary impulses and empowers us to act from a place of awareness. Patience and wisdom are born in these quiet moments, transforming us from reactive beings into intentional actors in our own lives. In practical terms, how can we embrace silence to cultivate patience and wisdom? Start by intentionally creating moments of quiet in your daily life. Step away from the noise of your environment, even for a few minutes. Practice deep breathing, mindful observation, or meditation. When faced with a challenging situation, resist the urge to react immediately. Pause, reflect, and consider the long-term consequences of your words and actions. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to respond with patience and insight in every aspect of life, at work, at home, and in social interactions. Remember, silence is not avoidance, it is preparation. It is not weakness, it is strength. It is not inaction, it is thoughtful action. The more we embrace silence, the more we discover our capacity for patience, for understanding, and for making decisions that carry weight and wisdom. In a world that constantly rewards noise, choosing silence is an act of courage, discipline, and mastery over oneself. Finally, understand that patience and wisdom are lifelong pursuits. There will always be moments that test your ability to remain silent, moments that tempt you to react quickly, and moments that challenge your composure. Embrace these moments as opportunities to practice the art of silence. With each pause, each moment of reflection, you strengthen your capacity to act wisely, respond thoughtfully, and live with integrity. Silence is not just a tool, it is a companion. It teaches us the art of patience, the depth of wisdom, and the power of thoughtful action. By embracing silence, we create the conditions for a life of insight, clarity, and influence. And in doing so, we not only transform ourselves, but also the world around us. So the next time life demands a reaction, pause, breathe, step into silence, reflect. Let patience guide your response, and let wisdom shape your actions. Because in silence, you do not lose power, you gain it. And in gaining this power, you become the person capable of navigating life with clarity, strength, and profound impact. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it can be to talk endlessly, to argue over small things, or to respond to every notification, message, and opinion around you? Our modern lives are filled with constant stimuli, and it is easy to feel drained, distracted, and overwhelmed. Every word we speak, every argument we engage in, every distraction we allow consumes our precious energy. Yet so often, we underestimate the value of conserving this energy through the power of silence. Silence is not just quiet, it is a tool for preservation, focus, and strength. Think about it: every time we react impulsively, we are spending energy we cannot reclaim. Every moment we try to prove a point, defend our ego, or engage in fruitless debate, we are draining ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. The most powerful people in the world understand this principle. They speak selectively, act intentionally, and prioritize their energy. Silence allows them to focus on what truly matters, while letting go of distractions that deplete their strength. Preserving energy is not about avoiding responsibilities or withdrawing from life. It is about recognizing that our energy is finite, and it must be invested wisely. Imagine a battery. If you spend your energy on unnecessary arguments, idle gossip, or reactive behavior, you have little left for the pursuits that truly matter: your goals, your relationships, your personal growth. Silence is the conscious act of protecting your battery, of ensuring that your vitality is directed toward meaningful actions rather than wasted on trivial matters. Focus and clarity are natural outcomes of silence. When the mind is quiet, it is free from the constant chatter that clouds judgment. Thoughts flow more clearly, decisions are made more wisely, and creativity emerges naturally. When we stop reacting to every noise around us, we gain the mental space to concentrate deeply on what is essential. Consider successful professionals, athletes, or leaders. They often spend time in solitude or silence, not out of loneliness, but to recharge and to concentrate fully on their purpose. The quiet mind is a focused mind, and the focused mind is a powerful force. Silence also helps us set boundaries. In a world obsessed with speed and immediacy, it is tempting to respond to every demand. But learning to embrace silence allows us to choose where we direct our attention and energy. By speaking less, by reacting less, we preserve our mental and emotional bandwidth for challenges that truly deserve it. It is in this careful allocation of energy that we discover a deeper sense of control, purpose, and effectiveness. Think about conversations you have had that left you feeling drained. Often, these are discussions filled with noise, ego, and conflict, moments where silence might have served you better. By practicing silence, we can avoid unnecessary arguments and reduce stress. Our energy is preserved, our focus sharpened, and our clarity enhanced. We become more selective in our words and our engagements, and in doing so, we operate from a place of strength rather than depletion. Silence also improves our listening skills, which in turn conserves energy. When we listen attentively, Instead of preparing our response while others speak, we gather valuable insights without wasting energy on misunderstandings or assumptions. Listening in silence allows us to respond thoughtfully, reducing unnecessary conflict and miscommunication. It is a simple yet profound way to maintain harmony and preserve the mental space needed for growth and action. Another aspect of energy preservation through silence is emotional regulation. Every emotional outburst, every argument fueled by ego, consumes mental and emotional energy. When we choose silence, we give ourselves the opportunity to process our emotions, understand their origin, and respond consciously. This practice prevents us from being hijacked by temporary impulses and allows our energy to be directed toward long-term goals, creative pursuits, and meaningful interactions. Silence also allows for reflection and introspection, which are essential for maintaining focus. In the midst of constant activity, our attention is fragmented, scattered, and weakened. When we embrace silence, we create a mental environment where we can think deeply, evaluate priorities, and identify what truly deserves our energy. Reflection in silence sharpens our focus and allows us to invest our energy in actions that are aligned with our purpose rather than being squandered on distractions. Consider how technology affects our energy and focus. Social media, constant notifications, and endless digital noise pull us in multiple directions. It is easy to feel exhausted at the end of the day without having accomplished anything truly meaningful. Silence acts as a counterbalance to this overload. By consciously choosing moments of quiet, by disconnecting from the constant bombardment of information, we reclaim our energy, enhance our attention, and sharpen our ability to perform at our best. Silence also strengthens self-control, which is key to energy preservation. Every time we react impulsively, whether in speech, thought, or action, we expend energy unnecessarily. By practicing silence, we learn to pause, evaluate, and act with intentionality. Self-control is like a muscle. The more we practice it through moments of silence, the stronger it becomes. And a strong, disciplined mind is capable of focusing on goals with sustained energy, achieving results that hasty reactions alone could never produce. In addition, silence enhances mental clarity. When the mind is quiet, confusion gives way to understanding. Priorities become evident, solutions become visible, and opportunities that were previously overlooked now emerge. Mental clarity is a direct result of preserved energy, and preserved energy is a direct result of embracing silence. The quieter we allow our inner world to become, the stronger, sharper, and more focused we grow in the outer world. Moreover, silence nurtures patience, which is intimately connected to energy conservation. Impulsive reactions, arguments, and hasty decisions waste energy not only on the action itself, but also on the emotional aftermath. By cultivating patience through silence, we reduce unnecessary mental turbulence and create a reservoir of energy that can be applied to what truly matters. In essence, patience is both a product and a reward of silence. It allows us to conserve energy while preparing us to act wisely when needed. The act of preserving energy through silence also leads to deeper achievements. When energy is scattered, progress is slow and inconsistent. When energy is focused, progress becomes exponential. Silence allows us to channel our energy into creative work, meaningful relationships, and personal development. It transforms us from reactive individuals into intentional actors in our own lives, capable of sustained effort and remarkable results. Finally, silence brings balance. Life is filled with highs and lows, activity and rest, engagement and detachment. By integrating silence into our daily routine, we create a rhythm that preserves our energy, enhances focus, and strengthens our ability to act effectively. In silence, we recharge, recalibrate, and prepare to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience, clarity, and power. So, the next time you feel the urge to react immediately, to speak just to be heard, or to engage in unnecessary conflict, pause. Step into silence. Protect your energy. Focus on what truly matters. Allow your mind to rest, your heart to settle, and your purpose to emerge. Because silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It preserves your energy, sharpens your focus, and empowers you to act with intention, clarity, and lasting impact. When you embrace silence, you realize that power is not in the noise, but in the careful, intentional use of your words, thoughts, and actions. The quieter you become, the more energy you preserve. The more energy you preserve, the sharper your focus. And the sharper your focus, the greater the impact you can make in the world. Silence is not the absence of action, it is the preparation for powerful, purposeful action. In our fast-moving world, it is easy to be so absorbed in noise, chatter, and distractions that we miss the subtleties of life. We often walk past moments that hold profound meaning, conversations that carry hidden truths, and opportunities that require careful observation. Our perception, the ability to truly see, hear, and understand, is dulled by constant noise and ceaseless activity. Silence, however, has the remarkable power to sharpen perception. When we allow ourselves to step into quiet, to observe without judgment, to listen without interruption, we begin to perceive life in a way that others often cannot. Perception is not simply the act of seeing, it is the ability to understand, to read between the lines, and to notice the unspoken. Many of the world's most influential leaders, thinkers, and innovators share a common quality. They are keen observers. They notice what others overlook. They sense opportunities where others see obstacles. They understand human behavior, motivations, and emotions at a deeper level. And what enables this heightened perception is not constant activity, it is moments of silence. Silence trains the mind to focus, the heart to feel, and the soul to sense. When we are silent, we can truly listen, not only to words, but to emotions, intentions, and energy. Every conversation carries layers of meaning beyond the literal words spoken. A person's tone, pauses, gestures, and expressions reveal far more than their voice alone. When we rush to respond, we miss these layers. When we practice silence, we tune ourselves to these subtleties. We see more clearly, hear more deeply, and understand more fully. Silence is the gateway to insight. Think about situations in life where a moment of stillness changed everything. A pause before speaking prevented conflict. A quiet observation revealed a hidden truth. A reflective moment allowed us to notice something important that everyone else missed. These are not coincidences. They are the fruits of cultivating silence. When we practice quiet, we develop sensitivity, awareness, and perception that guide us toward better decisions and richer relationships. Perception enhanced by silence also allows us to navigate people and situations wisely. In our personal and professional lives, we encounter individuals with different temperaments, motivations, and perspectives. By staying silent and observing carefully, we gain the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. We notice patterns in behavior, subtle cues, and underlying emotions that would otherwise go unnoticed. In doing so, we become more effective communicators, more empathetic friends, and more insightful leaders. Silence equips us with the clarity to discern what is essential from what is trivial, what is real from what is superficial. Moreover, silence enhances perception by strengthening intuition. Intuition is not a mystical gift reserved for a few, it is the natural outcome of focused observation and reflection. When the mind is cluttered with noise, intuition is drowned out. When we embrace silence, we create space for subtle insights to emerge. We begin to sense the right path, anticipate challenges, and recognize opportunities that others might overlook. This heightened awareness, rooted in quiet observation, allows us to act with confidence and discernment in complex situations. Silence also sharpens our perception of ourselves. Many people go through life reacting automatically, unaware of their own thoughts, emotions, and patterns. By practicing silence, we become observers of our own minds. We notice habitual reactions, hidden fears, unexamined beliefs, and unnoticed strengths. This self-awareness allows us to make conscious choices, break limiting patterns, and cultivate qualities that enhance our personal and professional growth. When we see ourselves clearly, we navigate life with greater effectiveness and purpose. Consider how often we miss opportunities because we are too busy talking or reacting. A chance encounter, a subtle piece of advice, or a fleeting moment of inspiration may pass unnoticed simply because we are not paying attention. Silence slows down the pace, allowing us to notice what is happening around us. It heightens awareness, strengthens observation, and opens the mind to possibilities that are invisible in the noise. Those who cultivate silence often discover insights and solutions that others overlook, simply because they are attuned to life in a way that the noisy cannot be. Perception also improves in relationships through silence. When we listen attentively without interrupting, we create space for others to express themselves fully. People feel heard, understood, and valued. By observing body language, tone, and emotion in silence, we pick up on the unspoken aspects of communication. This ability to perceive subtle cues enhances empathy, reduces misunderstandings, and deepens connections. Silence is not merely the absence of words, it is a presence that allows us to truly connect and understand. In addition, silence fosters mindfulness, which is the foundation of heightened perception. Mindfulness is the ability to be fully present in the moment, to notice the details of our surroundings, our thoughts, and our interactions. Silence cultivates this mindfulness by reducing distractions, calming the mind, and creating awareness. The more mindful we are, the more accurately we perceive reality. Our judgments become informed, our responses become intentional, and our interactions become meaningful. Silence allows us to see life in high definition, rather than through the blurred lens of noise and distraction. Even in moments of challenge or conflict, silence enhances perception. When tensions rise, it is tempting to react immediately, to speak before thinking. But those who practice silence notice more. They see the triggers, the emotions, and the underlying causes. They perceive the bigger picture, the long-term implications, and the subtle dynamics at play. Silence provides the clarity needed to act wisely, maintain composure, and influence outcomes positively. The quiet observer often achieves results that the loudest voice cannot. Silence also nurtures creativity, which is closely tied to perception. When the mind is quiet, it begins to notice patterns, connections, and opportunities that were previously hidden. Creative solutions often emerge not in the chaos of activity, but in the calm of observation. By taking time to pause, reflect, and perceive in silence, we unlock innovative thinking, problem-solving skills, and fresh perspectives. The mind becomes a fertile ground where new ideas grow, nurtured by clarity, insight, and deep awareness. Practical steps to enhance perception through silence include setting aside intentional moments of quiet each day. Step away from distractions, notifications, and external pressures. Practice mindful observation, notice details, listen carefully, and reflect on experiences without immediate judgment. Cultivate the habit of pausing before responding to others, allowing space to perceive emotions, intentions, and subtleties. Over time, these moments of silence expand our awareness, sharpen our insight, and enhance our understanding of both ourselves and the world around us. Remember, silence is not emptiness. It is a tool for deepening awareness, expanding understanding, and enhancing perception. The quieter we become, the more we see. The more we see, the wiser we act. The wiser we act, the more meaningful our lives become. Silence is not a withdrawal from life, it is an immersion in reality, a chance to perceive the beauty, complexity, and depth of existence with clarity and insight. The next time you feel compelled to speak, to react, or to fill a moment with noise, pause. Step into silence. Observe, listen, notice, reflect. Allow your perception to expand. Let the quiet sharpen your awareness, deepen your understanding, and guide your actions. In silence, the world reveals itself in ways that noise cannot. In silence, we see life more clearly, respond more wisely, and live more meaningfully. In a world that often equates loudness with power and constant activity with strength, silence is frequently misunderstood. Many people see silence as weakness, passivity, or even fear. But nothing could be further from the truth. Silence is one of the most profound forms of strength a human being can possess. It is not the absence of action, nor the absence of voice, it is the presence of control, awareness, and intention. When cultivated thoughtfully, silence empowers, influences, and transforms. Strength is often visible in words and actions, but the true measure of strength is often hidden in moments of restraint. Consider a situation where someone tries to provoke you, insult you, or test your patience. The natural instinct may be to respond immediately, to defend oneself, or to assert authority through words. Yet, those who understand the power of silence recognize that restraint is far stronger than reaction. Silence allows us to maintain composure, observe with clarity, and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Strength, therefore, is not in the noise we create, but in the calm presence we maintain. Silence builds inner power because it fosters self-mastery. Every time we resist the urge to speak unnecessarily, to react impulsively, or to give in to ego, we are exercising control over ourselves. Self-control is one of the most important forms of power. It allows us to make decisions that are aligned with our values, act in ways that are intentional, and influence outcomes positively. The person who speaks less but acts with integrity often commands more respect than someone who dominates conversations or asserts themselves loudly. Strength rooted in silence is quiet, steady, and enduring. Moreover, silence communicates more than words ever can. When we speak less, people pay closer attention when we do speak. Our words carry weight because they are chosen deliberately, rather than spoken impulsively. Silence creates space for reflection, both for ourselves and for others. When we respond thoughtfully, our communication becomes impactful. People sense the calm, the awareness, and the presence that comes from someone who has mastered the art of silence. This is a subtle but profound influence, one that loudness cannot replicate. Silence also allows us to maintain focus and clarity in the face of chaos. Life often presents challenges that are unexpected, overwhelming, or emotionally charged. It is easy to be swept away by panic, fear, or anger. But the practice of silence equips us to step back, breathe, and assess the situation with a clear mind. We conserve our energy, focus on what truly matters, and take actions that are effective rather than reactive. Strength is not merely about action. It is about knowing when to act, when to observe, and when to remain silent. Consider the wisdom of the greatest leaders and thinkers throughout history. They often spoke sparingly, but with precision. They observed carefully, listened intently, and acted deliberately. Their strength was not in the volume of their voice, but in the depth of their understanding, the clarity of their vision, and the discernment of their actions. Silence allowed them to navigate complex situations, influence outcomes, and leave a lasting impact. The world rewards those who act with intention, not those who speak without thought. Silence is also a shield for emotional resilience. When faced with criticism, insult, or provocation, the instinct may be to retaliate or defend. However, those who have cultivated silence recognize that emotional energy is precious. By choosing not to engage in unnecessary conflict, we protect our inner peace and maintain control over our responses. This ability to remain composed in difficult situations is a powerful form of strength, one that inspires respect, commands authority, and preserves harmony. Another dimension of strength in silence is patience. Often, we measure strength by immediate results or rapid responses. But true strength lies in the ability to wait, to observe, and to act at the right time. Silence fosters patience by slowing down impulsive reactions and creating mental space to understand the bigger picture. Patience allows us to make decisions that are informed, deliberate, and impactful. It transforms us from reactive beings into intentional architects of our own lives. Silence also enhances discernment. By cultivating quiet observation, we begin to notice subtle patterns, unspoken truths, and hidden opportunities that are invisible in noise. Strength is not only about what we do, but also about what we choose not to do. Knowing when to speak, when to act, and when to hold back is a hallmark of maturity and power. Silence equips us with this discernment, enabling us to navigate life with wisdom and confidence. Moreover, silence strengthens relationships. In communication, listening is far more powerful than speaking. By remaining silent, we give others the space to express themselves fully, and we can respond with understanding, empathy, and clarity. Silence allows us to observe emotions, intentions, and needs that are often unspoken. This awareness strengthens bonds, builds trust, and cultivates deeper, more meaningful